Welcome to Crafty Little Beach. This is Julie. Today I have a Dollar Tree DIY for you. I picked up one of these new spring trays. This is like a letter tray, it's like letter size. And I think it's perfect because it's got this beautiful like floral pattern on it. It's a short tray, it's large. You can do a really big scene. And I'm actually going to use this out in my landscaping. So the first thing I do is just use a nail and I'm just going to poke holes all over. It does have holes on the side, but I didn't know if that'd be enough drainage for Florida rain. And I wanted to make sure that the water could get out and not sit in this little fairy garden. And I am going to start filling this up. This one's going to be a traditional fairy garden. So I want it to have like a good covering of potting soil here on the bottom, but not too thick. It does have those little handle openings on the side. I want to try to make sure things aren't coming out of those, and I don't really want to cover those up with anything because I want to just leave the plastic tray. And again, these are great to do on a tray because you can move them around in your landscaping. You can move them from yard to yard or for whatever you're doing in your yard. And you know, it might not be warm enough to put these out where you live. So you could start them inside and then take them outside when spring decides to hit. This is the house I chose for this one. I think it's really sweet. It's got some pink flowers growing up the side of it. And I want this one to be very pretty pink and polished for the fairies. And we're going to add fairies to this one. So I put that over to the side. This is one of the trees from the Dollar Tree. Now it is a tree house and I want it to be more of a tree. So let me show you how I go about converting that. I don't mind it having the little bracket fungi and the face on there. I think that's cute. But I'm going to cover the tree house itself with some reindeer moss, and I kind of wanted to have that feel all over. I was kind of inspired by some of the newer pieces that are covered in moss, and so I'm going to try to do my own here with the reindeer moss and keep going because I don't want some of it to be ceramic and some of it to be covered with a reindeer moss. I want the entire thing. And so I don't want it to be super thick. Once you get it on there, you can always tear off some of it if it's too thick so you have a little bit more reindeer moss to work with. And just kind of work one section at a time. We're going to make this really cute tree here for the backyard of this little fairy garden. It took more reindeer moss than I thought it would to cover that, but I think that looks pretty good and pretty covered. Maybe one or two more areas that have a little areas to be patched. And I wanted to make sure you couldn't see any little bald spots. And then I'm going to place that down into the potting soil as well. Again, I want to bury these a little bit in the potting soil. That will help keep them from tipping over when I get this all put together. And then I'm going to use some of these larger fairy garden pieces this year. I wanted to do like a water display on this one, a little bit bigger. And then I wanted to do a sidewalk. So this is a little stone pathway that came in one of those packages that I thought would be perfect to go to the little fairy garden house. And then I decided I wanted a bridge over water. And I was trying to decide whether I wanted to do that in the backyard, but it seemed like it might be a little tight back here, or if I should do it here in the front where it's nice and visible, and I decided to do that. Then for the fairies to sit on, I'm going to have one sit on the bridge, but I wanted the other one to sit on a stump. So I'm going to use one of these wood stems from the Dollar Tree and kind of put that one down here as well. I ended up gluing that down so it's a little bit sturdier for my little fairy to sit on in the backyard. For the water, I'm going to use some of the little blue pebbles from the Dollar Tree. This makes great water for a little fairy garden because anytime you use like rocks or pebbles, it's going to hold up really well, and they're bright blue like water. So I think that's going to be perfect, and I can put it right there where I want it to go underneath that little bridge. Now it's time for some grass here on this fairy garden. I'm going to use reindeer moss. I'm going to mix it together with some of the green floral moss too to kind of provide a couple different colors, but most of it's going to be the reindeer moss. I find that one works the best. So I just go in the front yard, the backyard, and then I always like to kind of have different zones when I have a bigger tier tray like this. So I want in one area to be kind of rocky. So I'm going to do the rocky area over here on the other side of the tree. Just so we have all different kinds of areas in this yard. I want a lot of landscaping. This is the green floral moss. As you can see, it doesn't really stick together like the reindeer moss does, but I like the fact that it provides a little bit more of a foresty green color. And then I'm going to use some of the brown floral moss from the Dollar Tree too. I'm going to use that to make a little path that goes to the backyard from the bridge that's made out of something different than like the little sidewalk to the house. And I thought that that would be a nice change to change up the color of the moss to make a little path to kind of make it look like a little dirt pathway. And then I'm going to continue on with the yard and the reindeer moss until I have all of it covered, just working over here by the rocks, the trees, and the water display. These are so fun to do. You can really get creative. Hopefully you're getting lots of fun ideas today for your fairy garden. I'm even going to have some more creative fairy gardens that you can like even hang on the wall today, so stay tuned. For the sign, I found this great little fairy garden sign. This is one of the newer, bigger items this year. I thought it was really cute. And so it's bright and perfect for the fairies. So I'm going to put that right in front. And now it's time for some greenery and some flowers. This is just some of the Dollar Tree greenery. This is some of the newer greenery that I got there today. Kind of looks like a fern plant. I'm going to use those, just pulling them off and using their stems. Just gives you a little bit of height, a little bit of greenery, really easy, and just working that down into the potting soil. And then, of course, we have to have flowers for our little fairies. So, again, I picked out some small flowers from the Dollar Tree. They have like these little white ones. I'm going to kind of scatter those around. I just cut the stem off about like maybe an inch so that there is enough room to put it down into the potting soil. And then I'm going to put some soft pink flowers as well. And these are a little bit larger, but maybe some yellow ones too. I want it to be really beautiful for the little fairies. And it's so fun. You could even use this for a centerpiece for your table. Really fun. For mushrooms, I picked up these little pink and purple mushrooms from the Easter section at Dollar Tree. These are great for fairy gardens. They come on wire. I'm just going to cut them off, again, leaving a little stem on there that I can kind of bend and work down into the potting soil so they won't fall over. And I'm going to use a combination of pink and purple because those remind me of little fairy colors, and scatter those around the forest as well. As you can see, it's getting lots of different colors and textures, and I absolutely love how this fairy garden turned out. Now, I noticed that sign wanted to fall over a little bit, so to prevent that from falling over, I'm going to use some of the pebbles around it to help it stand up better. And then maybe another piece of greenery back here. And I think it's ready for the little fairies. These are the fairies I got this year. They're the larger ones. One of them has her leg up a little bit. So I think that that one would be really cute sitting on the bridge. Like she's touching the water with one of her feet like that. But she's not going to stay on there. So I use a little hot glue. You could always use some stronger glue. I might have to glue her back on. We'll see. And then I'm going to hot glue this to the little wood stem. I also glue that down for a little to make it sturdier so she doesn't fall off every time the wind blows. But here it is, our little fairy garden. Very traditional. It's actually pretty large. Let me show you all of the fun details. Like even like the fairy garden sign like that has the cute little birds on there that will look really fun for spring. But I think this one turned out so cute. I had so much fun putting this together for you today. Isn't it so cute? And I think the color of that tray and the little flower cutouts there on the side make it really great.